Somewhere between sunrise and your first cup of coffee, your brain may be at its most vulnerable. 1 in 4 adults over 65 will suffer a stroke, but here's the part almost no one realizes. Up to 80% of strokes are preventable. And even more shocking, research shows your risk nearly triples between 6 and 9 in the morning. Think about that for a moment. The hours you spend waking up, stretching, maybe getting dressed, or turning on the kettle are the exact hours when your brain is under its greatest hidden attack. Now let me ask you something simple. If you've always believed mornings were harmless, type 1 in the comments right now. But if you've ever had a gut feeling that mornings might hold risks, type 0. This isn't just for you. It helps other seniors reading the comments realize they're not alone. And while you're there, hit subscribe to Senior Vitality Hub, because the information you're about to hear could help protect your brain and may even change the way you live the rest of your life. I'm Dr. David Whitman, a neurologist and stroke specialist. For more than 20 years, I've sat across from thousands of patients in rehabilitation clinics, listening to the same heartbreaking words. I never thought this would happen to me. And what stays with me most are the cases that didn't need to happen. Strokes that could have been prevented if only the early warning signs were recognized for what they truly were. Let me share the story of Margaret, a 72-year-old retired teacher. On the outside, she lived the kind of life most people would admire. She ate well, she walked daily, she followed a Mediterranean-style diet, and she avoided soda and junk food. To her friends and neighbors, she looked like the picture of health, but inside, her brain was fighting a silent battle. For months, Margaret brushed off small but consistent symptoms. She woke up with dull headaches behind her eyes. Her hands tingled as she made her morning coffee, and sometimes she felt lightheaded at the sink. She told herself it was just fatigue from caring for her husband, or maybe just part of getting older. Even her family doctor reassured her that it wasn't anything serious. But here's the truth. Margaret's brain was waving red flags every single morning, and no one recognized them for what they were. Then one morning, everything changed. Margaret collapsed in her kitchen while rinsing a coffee mug. Her husband rushed over, panicked as she slurred her words and tried to lift her left hand, which felt suddenly heavy and weak. By the time the ambulance arrived, her symptoms had eased, but the diagnosis was unmistakable. Margaret had suffered a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke, and when we looked closer, we discovered something even more alarming. Margaret had been experiencing microstrokes for nearly a year. Her brain had been crying out for help with every morning headache, every tingle in her hands, every dizzy spell. But because those signals were subtle and easy to dismiss, she, like so many others, ignored them. And that's what turned something preventable into something life-threatening. Here's what I need you to understand. Margaret is not unique. Millions of people over 60 wake up with headaches, dizziness, brain fog, or shaky steps and tell themselves it's just part of aging. But stroke doesn't appear out of nowhere. It builds silently for years. And mornings are the moment of greatest danger, when hidden weaknesses in your circulation are most likely to break through. If you've ever had a morning where you felt off, foggy, dizzy, or weaker than usual, type the word morning in the comments so we can see just how common these early warnings really are. Think of your blood vessels like a garden hose that's been left outside all night. In the morning, that hose is stiff, kinked, and cold. Then you turn on the tap and suddenly water surges through it under pressure. That's exactly what happens inside your arteries every single morning when you wake up. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that 67% of strokes occur between 6 a.m. and noon, with the highest risk packed into those first 3 hours after waking. During this window, your blood pressure can rise by 30 to 40 points. Your heart rate can climb by 20 to 30 beats per minute, and because you haven't had water for hours, your blood is up to 15% thicker than normal. For someone young with flexible arteries, this isn't a big deal. The vessels stretch, absorb the pressure, and carry on. But once you're over 60, those arteries have naturally stiffened over time. Instead of stretching, they resist, and that means the morning surge becomes more like a hammer strike than a gentle wave. Blood flow turns turbulent. The delicate lining of your vessels takes the hit, and that's when clots or vessel ruptures become far more likely. This is why so many people feel fine during the day, yet collapse in the morning. It isn't random. It isn't bad luck. It's your biology at work. And in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through a 30-second test you can do right now in your living room to see if your body is already struggling under this pressure. Let's do a quick 30-second test together. It won't diagnose a stroke, but it can give you important clues about how well your circulation and balance are coping with that morning surge. Here's what I want you to do. First, stand up slowly from your chair. Then, sit back down. Now raise both arms above your head and hold them there for 30 seconds. While you do this, pay close attention. Does one arm suddenly feel heavier, almost like a sack of wet sand? Do your fingers tingle more on one side than the other? Do you feel dizzy or notice a strange pressure in your head or behind your eyes? If you noticed any of these, your body may already be sending you red flags. These are not just signs of getting older. They're your brain and circulation saying, I'm struggling to deliver steady blood flow. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. If you felt anything unusual during that test, type the word test in the comments. Acknowledging it here can help you pay attention, and it might also help someone else realize they aren't alone. And while you're here, please hit that like button so YouTube shows this information to more seniors who need it before it's too late. Now, let's go over 3 morning symptoms that research shows can predict stroke risk years in advance. If you notice even one of these on a regular basis, it's your brain asking for help. Firstly, morning headaches that feel different from your usual ones. These often show up within the first 30 minutes of waking. Many people describe them as pressure behind the eyes, a heavy feeling across the face, or a pounding at the base of the skull. They happen because blood vessels in the brain are struggling to push blood through narrowed or stiffened arteries. If you've had this, type head in the comments. You might be surprised how many others share the same experience. Secondly, what I call the morning shuffle. Those first few steps out of bed feel unsteady or clumsy, almost as if the floor is uneven beneath your feet. Sometimes you might reach for the wall or the nightstand without even thinking. This happens when the small vessels feeding your balance centers aren't delivering enough blood during that morning surge. Thirdly, brain fog or trouble finding the right words right after waking. You know what you want to say, but there's a frustrating delay between thought and speech. That sluggishness comes from your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, struggling to get the oxygen-rich blood it needs. These 3 symptoms are not random quirks of aging. They're warning signals. And the good news is there's something you can do about them, starting tomorrow morning. Now let's talk about what you can actually do tomorrow morning to protect your brain during those critical hours. I call this the 3-step morning routine. It's simple, it's free, and it takes less than 5 minutes. Firstly, before you even get out of bed, do what I call the wake-up warm-up. While still lying down, flex and point your feet 10 times, then make slow circles with your ankles, 5 in each direction. After that, clench and release your fists 10 times, holding the squeeze for a second or 2 before letting go. These movements may feel small, but they're powerful. They activate the muscle pumps in your calves and hands, helping push blood back toward your heart and gently waking up your circulation. Think of it as priming the pump before the pressure surge hits. Secondly, when it's time to sit up, don't rush it. Roll to your side, push yourself up slowly, and sit on the edge of the bed for about 30 seconds. While you're sitting, take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Then exhale through pursed lips for 6 counts. This short pause allows your blood pressure to stabilize and calms your nervous system. For many of my patients, this single adjustment alone has stopped that sudden dizziness or head rush they thought was just normal. Thirdly, prime your pipes with water. Within 5 minutes of waking, sip about 8 ounces of room temperature water. Not ice cold, not gulp down. Sip it slowly, 1 drink every 15 seconds or so. Overnight, your blood becomes thicker because of dehydration. Rehydrating this way thins it back to normal, reduces strain on your heart, and makes it easier for oxygen to reach your brain. These 3 steps, moving, pausing, and hydrating, may seem simple, but done consistently, they can transform your mornings into one of the safest times of the day rather than the riskiest. Here's something most people never think about. It's not just what you do in the morning, it's when you do it. Timing can make the difference between lowering your risk and quietly raising it. Firstly, exercise. For decades, we've been told to start the day strong with a brisk walk or even a jog. But for people over 50, especially those already experiencing morning headaches or balance issues, this can actually backfire. A major study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that the risk of heart attack and stroke during vigorous morning exercise is up to 5 times higher compared to doing the same workout later in the day. Why? Because in those early hours, your blood pressure and heart rate are already spiking from the natural morning surge. Adding strenuous exercise piles stress onto a system that's already working overtime. The smarter choice is to keep mornings gentle. Stretching, light walking, or a few yoga poses are perfect. Save your heavier workouts for the afternoon when your cardiovascular system has stabilized and can handle the extra strain safely. Secondly, medications. This is one of the most common hidden mistakes I see in my clinic. Most people take their blood pressure pills with breakfast, assuming that's when they'll do the most good. But here's the problem. The morning surge happens before those medications have reached their peak effectiveness. That means your arteries are unprotected during the exact hours when they need support most. Some of my patients, after discussing it with their doctors, shifted part of their dose to bedtime or split their medication schedule. Many of them saw their morning spikes drop by 20 to 30 points. One of those patients was George, a 68-year-old retired engineer. He was frustrated by constant dizzy spells in the mornings and thought it was just part of aging. After reviewing his routine, we adjusted the timing of his blood pressure medication with his doctor's guidance. Within weeks, George's dizzy spells were cut in half, and his mornings felt more stable than they had in years. The lesson is clear. Timing matters. By being smarter about when you move your body and when you take your medications, you can transform the riskiest hours of your day into some of the safest. And if this section made sense to you, hit the like button right now so YouTube can share it with more people who need to hear it. And subscribe to Senior Vitality Hub for more science-backed tips designed specifically for people over 60. So, what actually happens if you follow this 3-step routine consistently? Let me walk you through what many of my patients report after just 1 week. On day 1 or 2, the changes are small but noticeable. Your hands and feet warm up faster, your balance feels steadier, and that heavy fog that usually lingers in the morning begins to lift. Instead of dragging yourself through the first hour of the day, you feel more awake within 15 minutes of getting out of bed. By days 3 through 5, the benefits become clearer. Those morning headaches that once felt normal begin to ease or disappear entirely. That wobbly, unsteady feeling during your first steps fades, replaced with more confidence. Instead of instinctively reaching for the wall or nightstand, you find yourself walking upright and steady. Energy levels also feel more even, no longer crashing mid-morning the way they used to. By the end of the first week, the difference can feel remarkable. Many describe sharper thinking, clearer focus, and a sense of control over their mornings that they hadn't felt in years. Margaret, the retired teacher I told you about earlier, followed this exact routine. Within weeks, her headaches faded, her balance returned, and she told me something powerful. "Doctor, I finally feel like my mornings are mine again." And that's the point. These aren't miracle cures. They're the natural results of giving your body what it needs at the exact moment it needs it most. Small steps, done consistently, create enormous change over time. So here's my challenge to you. Try this routine for 1 week, then come back and comment week 1 below to share what difference you noticed. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs to finally take their health seriously. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to Senior Vitality Hub. In our next video, I'll reveal the everyday kitchen item doctors actually use in hospitals to quickly test brain function, and how you can use it at home to spot hidden risks months before any medical scan would. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Until then, take care of yourself, because your brain deserves the best start every single morning. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult your doctor or qualified health professional before making changes to your diet, exercise, or medication. If you experience sudden weakness, severe headache, slurred speech, or vision changes, call emergency services immediately.